Recently, I stumbled upon Xero Linux, which is an Arch-based distro that comes only in two flavors, KDE and XFCE. Based on their website, which I'll also be showing you later, and wherein you can open it later on the description bar, since I'm going to post it where you can actually download the ISO file. Xero Linux is an iCandy lover's wet dream, so I could not wait, by the way, to try out Xero Linux, if it's just in my virtual machine. I downloaded the KDE version, which is their flagship release. So this is actually their KDE version, and it offers a variety of packages to choose from during the installation process, as well as support for a variety or wide array of hardware. Since KDE version is their flagship, we can expect that it will have the biggest number of features. Okay, so it will also be getting some standalone rises. So when you talk about standalone rises for Xero Linux, basically we don't need to install packages separately. So like for example, if you wanted to rise up our Xero Linux, we no longer need to install Rust bar or Conky or the dock at the bottom separately. What it everything actually comes in this standalone rises. I think there's around three standalone rises that we can choose from. Okay, so let me just try to show you guys. So we have here also by default their browser is not Firefox, it's Vivaldi. Excuse me. So this is their Vivaldi. Okay, web browser. So we have here GNOME and XFCE. So so basically they already updated this one. So uh okay, we have here KDE and edition and XFCE edition. So if you have a beast rig, um so we have here KDE. Okay. So this is actually their Arco Linux. Okay, customization. So this is actually what I've been telling you guys. So we have a Rises theme. Also, there's actually four Rises and themes that we can choose from. So we have their Zero Lion, Zero Dracul, Zero Nord, and Zero Sweet. We'll try installing one of those later. Um, so basically, another good thing about Zero Linux is that it comes with the Calamares installer, which is uh, basically a installer that will make our lives quite easy. So all we have to do is just read the instruction, then just click next. A little bit of configuration, but there's no need for us to go to the terminal to configure everything manually. Okay, so as you've noticed, I've already installed it on my virtual machine. So this is actually one of the first things that I would normally do because by default it's 800 by 600. It's the resolution. So let's try to change this time. So we also have here Xerolinux configuration tools. Okay, so let me just try to close this and let's try to open our display. So this is its menu bar. Okay, so what I can basically do is just I can click this, select display. Then okay, so I cannot seem to find display. Okay, we have here run display. So it's not working. So let's try to look for we have here settings. So basically for settings, what we need to do is we can select here system settings. Okay. So this is your system settings. Let's try to see what's under the hood of your system settings. So the very first thing that I need to do or we would need to do is change the screen resolution. Okay. Try to look for it first. Okay, let's try to minimize. Resolution, display configuration. I just basically typed here resolution, then we have here display configuration. Let's try to wait for it a bit. Okay, so we already have here display configuration. So as what I've said, the default again resolution is 800 by 600. So I'm going to select 1440 by 900. Okay, click apply. Okay, so we already have our screen resolution into 1440 by 900. Try to close this one now. Um, so the very first thing that you should notice is that it's a pre-configured KDE Plasma desktop with a Latte Dock. So this is actually called your Latte Dock. So as what I've said, I'm still new to Linux. Been playing with it for less than 6 months. I think I started last October. Yeah, around 4 months to 5 months. So this is actually called your Latte Dock. So I'm still not that familiar when it comes to the other components of Linux or other packages. But this one actually is called your Latte Dock. This is located at the bottom by default, but you can also change it and try to transfer it here on top. But I won't be showing you how to do that. Maybe later. But let's try to do other things. Now the top panel here contains the KDE application menu. So this is your application menu. This is our menu. The datetime system tray. So we have our datetime as well as the system tray. So this is our system tray. Basically, the system tray is preloaded with data transfer and system monitor and other options as well. So we can see here the data transfer, network usage. We have our download and upload speed. So currently it's in 0, and other options as well. So we can also select the different status and notifications here if we were to select this drop down button or arrow button, down arrow button. So we have your power management, disk and devices, KDE contact. Okay, let's try to select a power management. Okay, so we have your manually block sleep and screen locking. Um, so these are all the elements found on our desktop. So let's try to look at other applications under our uh, application menu. Okay. So for development, we have the following applications. So these are all the different applications that I actually installed. So I just installed it. I didn't use it, although I played with it uh, for a little bit, but not as extensive compared to other Linux distribution that I tried. So these are all the different development tools that we can use. So we have here code. Let's try to open code. Let's try to see what it is. And also, as what I've said, this Xero Linux comes in prepackaged with Vivaldi instead of their usual Mozilla Firefox. So there's also one Linux distribution that I tried that also uses Vivaldi, but I actually kind of forgot. So this is our Visual Studio Code. Okay. So this is also a good thing for developers. So it comes pre-packaged with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so to close. You can also have your Electron if you wanted to use Electron. Okay, closing, just close. Git G, Get Kraken, icon browser key develop, and so on. So you can select. Oh, you also have here Sublime Text. It's like to open Sublime Text. So this is actually Sublime Text. If you're a developer, this is also a good tool for you to use Sublime Text. Although I shifted to Visual Studio Code since it's totally free. In this one, we still need to purchase or still need to register. But this is also quite a good text editor. Let's try to close. For education, we have your mathematics and science. So we have your both LibreOffice math and okay, we have here two LibreOffice Office math, both under education. For graphics, let's try to see. So we have your Blender, Darktable. I'm only familiar with Blender, by the way. So it's basically a 3D uh, software. Okay, very much like your 3ds Max if we wanted to purchase. So this is the open source version written in Python. key color chooser, and so on. So we also have here LibreOffice Draw. Now for internet, um, so we have here a Caprin, Chromium, Clos, and so on. So these are all the different applications that comes pre-installed when you install or when you select the different application tools in internet. But again, you also have the option what are the different components that you only wanted to install. Lost and found, multimedia for Office. Let's try to look for under Office. If you're an ordinary user and just wanted to have something to use for your day-to-day grind, then the very first thing that you should look at is under Office. Okay, so these are all the different Office applications that you can use, or LibreOffice applications that you can use. Then you also have the settings. So this is actually where I changed the screen resolution. Okay, so let's try to do something. Um, let's try to do something this time. So we have your system settings. Okay, try to customize something. Maybe let's try to change the wallpaper. So this is actually quick settings. So we have your light and dark. So by default, it's dark mode. Then let's try to select light mode or light theme. Try to click apply. Um, Again, this is actually the normal reaction since it's okay. So we have here, since it's basically in my virtual box, so it can be a little bit slower compared to if you're going to install it into an actual machine. So this is the light theme, so I would say would prefer the dark theme since I actually love the dark theme. Okay, let's try to I already click apply. Then we'll try to change also the wallpaper. Okay, let's try to change the wallpaper this time. So here by default, this is Xero Linux. These are all the different pre-installed wallpapers. So let's try to select let's try to select this one, Zero Plasma 1. Then click apply. And just click OK. Okay, let's try to minimize. Okay, so we already have our wallpaper changed. If you wanted to add remove software, then you can also add remove it here. But we'll talk about it later. Um, let's say to go back to our settings. Settings, there's settings. Okay. System settings. Okay. So we have here at the bottom our Latte Dock, which contains your Dolphin file browser, of course your Vivaldi uh, browser. This one, let's try to check this. Let me just try to check this one. What application it is? So it's Vantom Manager. Okay, Vantom comes with many themes, but external themes can also be installed. So this is actually a theme configuration settings as well. So although this is the first time I encountered Kivantum, I think this one you can be able to customize your theme based on your own preference. So I think the for this one Kivantum, its counterpart in GNOME is GNOME Tools, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just try to check. Let me just try to verify it first. Try to open GNOME Tools. So again, they're using Yahoo. I would rather use Google search engine. It's actually called GNOME, not GNOME Tools, but GNOME Tweaks. So have here GNOME Tweaks. It's GNOME Tweaks, so that we can tweak the GNOME theme or GNOME desktop environment in different distributions. So it's actually called GNOME Tweaks, not GNOME Tools. It's GNOME Tweak Tool. Okay, if I can find it out. Okay, so let's try to close Vivaldi. Okay, now let's continue. So we have here our terminal. Okay, let's try to open this time our terminal. Let's try to look at under the hood of our terminal. So I'm going to click again start. Then we have here, okay, let's try to look for, it's actually under utilities. So we have here Guaki terminal, arc. Okay, so we have, by default, I think they have here, okay, so they also have here Terminator. I also have here Vim. Okay, so it's a good thing that the Vim already comes pre-installed with Xerolinux. So let's going to look for terminal. Okay, so we have your terminal console. Console, by the way, is a default terminal of KDE. So I'm just going to use terminal. Okay, so this is terminal. So as you've noticed also, the terminal is comes pre-installed with NeoFetch. So these are all the different hardware information as well as the software information found on our virtual machine. Okay. So let's try to do something else. Let's try to rise up our Linux machine, or let's try to rise up our um, Xero Linux. I'm going to use, by the way, the Lion Rise. Okay, Xero Linux Lion Rise. Okay. Now let me just try to open my pacman conf. Okay, so sudo um, nano etc pacman.conf. That's for the password. Okay, install. Okay, so I'm going to add it at the bottom. Repo. github.io/dollar repo /dollar arch. Okay, so try to save. Okay, so it's already saved. Let's try to refresh database. Sudo pacman sy. Okay, so it seems to be that we have an error. So let's try to change. Xero Linux repo. Optional trust all Xero Linux. Okay. Pacman sy. Okay, so there seems to be it cannot actually register Xero Linux repo database. Okay, so it's already registered. Try to do okay, synchronizing package. Okay. Now let's try this time to run. Okay, let me just try to Let me just try to get copy first on git ls cd um, documents. Okay, so git clone https tab.com. Try to maximize xerolinuxeyecandy dash git.git. Okay, so we are going to clone this time um the Xerolion rice. So we'll just try to add Xerolion rice so that you can see how to rice it up in just one go. Okay, so this is actually just a single rice package that they have been telling us. So this is actually a standalone rice that they have been telling us. Okay, so this time, okay, so we are already done downloading. So let's try to install ls. Okay, your cd 0. Okay, so everything is good. Okay, be careful with this override. Be careful. Okay, creating backup. Now, one of the good things also is that it will actually create a backup of your .config folder or your .config file. So currently it's installing Pacman, tray icon plasma. Then it's like to start our machine. Could not register. Okay, so I think I already registered this one. So basically this one is based on KDE Neon. Uh, okay, so try to wait first. You can actually run this one also in Fedora and Debian. I tried installing this one in my Ubuntu and it seems to did not work, but I actually wanted to try it out in Debian, although I still need to learn how to install Debian manually. But for this one, I was able to play around with it for a while, then actually tried to use another theme. Although I think I told you guys on the beginning of this video that this is my first time. This is actually reinstalled it again. Okay, so currently it's still installing. We also tried to install later another theme, which is actually called Nord. Okay, so that at least we can see the difference between the two themes. So currently it's a little bit slow when it comes to its installation. Um, so Xerolion actually is the only cross distro compatible rice. Okay. Um, the rest of the rice here is basically for Xerolinux distribution only. So they try to limit it also to a single distribution, which is Xerolinux. So if we're going to look at, by the way, the website of Xerolion, which I'm also going to include it later on the description at the bottom. This is the only one that is compatible with the following distribution: Arch, Fedora, and Debian. So so far, as what I've said, they were able to install it properly and successfully on both Debian and Fedora. Although I haven't tried Fedora yet, but I wanted to try out Fedora. I'm also going to do, planning to do a review on Fedora again from a simple user standpoint. So from a day-to-day user standpoint. Um, for this one, customized distros summarize may not be applied. Okay, so like some distros actually would rather opt for light DM as opposed to SDDM, which is their login screen. So so that part won't get themed. For only reason, it's not recommended to use this rice with a pre-customized distro. So use only with vanilla KDE. So this one is actually um, recommended to be used only with vanilla KDE, the Xero Lion rice. Okay, so we have here running post transaction hook. So it won't take up too long also to install anymore. One of the good things also, as what I've said earlier, is that it creates automatically a backup of that config file. So we no longer need to create our very own backup of the config file, since it during the installation process it will actually create its own backup, or it will automatically create a backup. Okay, so we still have an error here, Xero Linux base, because it's already registered. Installing, running post. Okay, so when we talk about post installation, post installation hooks, it's finishing already. Installing theme, updating grub. Okay, installed. So uh the Sierra Lion theme is already installed. So we need to reboot to apply all the settings. Okay, so let me just try to reboot. Let's try to log in this time. So we have already successfully installed Xero Lion. Let's try to log in. Okay, let's try to see how it will look already. Currently it's booting. So this is how Xero Lion looks like already. So we have here our application menu. Then we have our Latte Dock. We have our no. This is actually our toolbar on the top. We have still our Latte Dock here at the bottom. So this is it. So this is actually quite different from the one that we used a while ago. So this is your Latte Dock. So actually, as what I've said, this Xero Linux comes only in four rices. I mean, standalone rices. But if you wanted to install each rice, or if you wanted to rice based on your own preference, you can also do so. Okay. Let's try to do another rice. So this is actually Zero Lion. Okay, let's try to do something else. Let's try to Nord. This time to try the Nord Zero Linux Nord rice. Okay. Again, let's try to open the terminal. You have your icons. Let's use console this time. Let me just try to copy first. Okay. So ls cd documents cd. Okay, so we already have here our Xero Lion. This time to git clone. Before we do that, try to do something else first. So we already have done the repo. Okay. Zero nord. Get dot get. Okay, we're trying to clone this time zero nord. Now, a little bit of background when it comes to the zero nord distribution rise. So this particular rise will only work on Fedora and so basically this will work only on Arch-based KDE or Xerolinux. So it cannot work on Fedora or Debian, unlike the Lion rise. Okay. Uh, okay, so it's already done. ls cd 0 nord git. Okay, let's try to install this time. Okay, so once we're done, let's try to reboot. Let's try to log in this time. Now, I've already installed the Nord version. Okay, so let's try to log in. Try to see what it will look like once it already has booted up. Okay, so we already have here straight to, okay, this is already it. Let me just try to close. Okay, so we have here our Latte Dock at the bottom. Okay, so this is it. This is actually quite nice. Let's try to change the wallpaper for this one. So you can see the Arch logo here on the upper left hand part of the screen, of the desktop. It's also the power button. So this is actually the Nord theme already. So every time we try to open a new theme or we try to rise our Xero Linux, we have here the Xero Linux configuration tool. So let's try to just customize it a bit. Maybe we can change the wallpaper. Your settings. Okay, it's going to take quite a little bit time to do. Okay, so here let's try to change the wallpaper. To be honest, I actually wanted to install this one in my laptop. Okay, I'll give later a conclusion after just changing this wallpaper. So you have your Honeywave Nord wall. Okay, let's try to look for. So let's just try to wait first for it to load. Okay, so we have here Nord wall 1, then we have here apply. Let's try to click OK. Okay, so that's how we would normally change our wallpaper with in Xero Linux with Nord theme. So let me just try to give you a little bit of conclusion or how do I think about Xero Linux. So I think overall this is a very good distribution. Knowing that this is actually quite new. So this is a new distribution. Xero Linux gives a new look and feel to the KDE Plasma on top of its arch base. Then I can say that it could compete with other arch-based distribution in terms of looks as well as in terms of functionalities. Although one important aspect is that they only focus on one desktop environment, which is KDE and XFCE, or two important aspect is that they only focus on uh, KDE and XFCE. Uh, but here's a little bit of my feedback when it comes to Xero Linux. I wouldn't recommend this one if you're a newbie in Linux. So if you're still trying out Linux, try to look for something which is a little bit easier, like for example in Ubuntu based uh, for your day-to-day task. But if you've been playing and using Linux for quite some time now, even for just 2 months, 3 months at a time, continuously playing with Linux, then I would suggest you try to go ahead and test it out. Uh, Also, if you wanted to try something nice looking, which is a combination of KDE and Arch, then I want you to try it out, or you should at least try it out for you to be able to get the look and the feel of Xero Linux. If you find the contents of this blog useful or interesting, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. And if you wanted to be notified every time a new video is uploaded, don't forget to hit the bell notification button. Thanks.